Alright, everybody, came back here live again. The thing is that there are a lot of things to cover, and we are not really focusing on all of them. So let's simply get it done really quick. Uh, I don't think like I earlier I just got a call, and because of that thing I had to just simply end this then and there. But as for right now, let me copy the previous title because I don't want to write it again. And once this is done, let me just simply go here and let's get started. Let's simply start working on this. As for the title is gonna be just changed for now, and let's simply save the things. And we are mainly gonna be talking about what? We are gonna be talking about Prometheus promo client. So what happens over here? You get three things mainly. First of all, you get the counter. Second, you get the goals. Third, you get the histograms, and they do their jobs, right? Coming back to this particular thing, so we did this. We have these routes over here: CPU users, CPU users, metrics, and this is for all. If something is not found, then that will be caught here, and that is it. So this is how you just simply go ahead. And what happens inside matrix middleware is pretty simple. So first of all, I have created some objects over here. So the first object is this request counter object that I got initializing this counter class over here. As soon as I just initialize this counter class, it asked for the name. This is the name, HTTP request counter. This is the help. This is the kind of text that you will be getting to understand that thing better. I've added some labels over here: method, route, and status code. And these labels make it multi-dimensional. That simply means later you can query the request based on the method, route, or status code. You can just simply search based on methods, route, or status code. So this is the main job of that. Second thing, we have request duration. So when it comes to request duration in milliseconds, well, let's not talk about this. First of all, let's talk about active requests. So what this active request does, first of all, we have request counter, right? So active requests. Okay, what will this do? HTTP active requests mainly tells you the number of active requests right now. We haven't added any method, route, or status code over here because we just simply want to see how many active requests are there. Later, if we want to add labels, you can just do that here too. And lastly, we have duration, request duration in milliseconds. So by the way, let me make it active requests. That's okay. There can be more than active request. Request duration milliseconds. It could be HTTP request active request. Let me ask the name from the AI and ask it whether this is the right name. Is this the right name, or should it be active request? Let's see. Your current name is correct and recommended, and that's okay. Correct one is recommended. Okay, it's in request duration. How about this one? Let me ask for the name first of all, and the next one is this request counter. I think it should be requests counter, but let's see. I wanna correct the names first of all. So your metric is mostly correct, but there is one important Prometheus best practice that you should follow. Issue with the milliseconds. So you should use seconds. HTTP request duration seconds. Prometheus best practice. Prometheus recommends using seconds, not milliseconds. Instead of milliseconds, use seconds. So HTTP request duration in seconds. Process CPU seconds total. Correct way. Request duration, and that's it. Let's simply have request duration over here, and whoa. I don't think so. This may not be right, but okay, never mind. Because even on the website, Prometheus website, they have mentioned what? They have mentioned the default percent, not this one. This particular section. So they have 0.1, that is the millisecond or second. The default buckets are intended over casual web RPC requests, but they can overwritten generator. buckets creates 20 buckets, starting on 0 and width of this. Mostly that is millisecond if I'm not wrong. That is millisecond. How can request take seconds? I mean, literally, requests are supposed to be taking seconds to return the response. So that is definitely that. By the way, what is the name suggested here? The name is suggested. Mainly, I'm worried about the request duration. That's what I have. Lastly, I have this if I'm not wrong. Request counter. Let me see if this is your code. Blah, 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 blah. Request HTTP request counter is already, instead of HTTP request counter, HTTP request total, HTTP request counter, HTTP request total, HTTP requests total. Okay, got it. So it is mainly talking about this. So this is the request counter and this should be HTTP request total. This is the standard one. So we have done this thing, active request, HTTP active requests, or HTTP requests active, HTTP request active, so like this. Similarly here, HTTP requests total, this is the name, HTTP requests total, how many total requests are there, and then HTTP request duration in millisecond. Copy, paste, copy. I'm mainly worried about the naming thing and all. Paste. So let me check whether whatever I have written here, that is industry wise correct or not. Your metrics are very close, but correct a few naming conventions. First of all, histogram request duration version, HTTP request duration milliseconds. The improvements. Prometheus prefers seconds, not milliseconds. Are you sure? I don't agree with this. Why? Prometheus ecosystem Grafana dashboard library expects HTTP request during seconds. Okay, they expect that. But let's see. Active request, HTTP request active. Your version this active better convention HTTP active requests. Okay, this name should be what I had earlier. Earlier I had HTTP active requests, and that's what it's supposed to be. And then HTTP active requests, and then counter. Your version is already correct. HTTP requests total. HTTP request duration seconds. It is asking me to make a Google search and check if this is correct. Is your bucket list correct? 0.5 millisecond. Oh, so they're just simply saying that 1 second, 3 second, 5 second. This is perfectly reasonable. Is this wrong? I think I need to go through the documentation right now. I'm just confused. Your buckets are not wrong, but they're wrong if your metric is in seconds. This value makes sense only if metric is measured in milliseconds. So if you keep milliseconds, then your buckets are reasonable. And 0.1 millisecond, 5 millisecond, and 5 seconds. If you follow Prometheus best practices seconds, Prometheus recommended seconds, so you would convert them. Your buckets would become 1 millisecond, 5 millisecond, 2 millisecond, no, 1 millisecond, 2 millisecond, 20 millisecond, 50 millisecond, 100 millisecond, 500 millisecond, 1 second, 3 second, 5 second. What most production ecosystem do? They go with this way. Most ecosystems use seconds. something like this. Really. Prometheus histogram 0.1 did this. Chat GPT, it's time to test you. I got it from Prometheus GitHub. Copy, paste, and give it to this. Let's see. You are correct to check the Prom client GitHub documentation. The example you showed is valid, but there is an important detail. The unit depends on what you record in the histogram. So from promo client docs example, I'm getting this. This example does not specify units. The buckets are simply numbers, and they match whatever unit you observe. So histogram.observe duration. Then the bucket values must match the unit of duration. Okay. If you measure milliseconds, your buckets are perfectly fine, and that's what I'm doing here. Come on, I'm measuring milliseconds, and I need to have like milliseconds over here. Metric name should then be HTTP request duration millisecond. Yeah, if you measure seconds, Prometheus recommendation. Prometheus ecosystem usually prefers seconds, so the histogram becomes HTTP request. This then your buckets must be converted like this, like 1 millisecond, 5 millisecond, 20 millisecond, 50 millisecond, 100 millisecond, 500 millisecond. Then it should be, the duration should be in seconds. So I will have to enter it like this. So I will have to give it seconds. Why Prometheus prefers seconds? Prometheus core metrics use seconds everywhere. So okay, this is like this. So let's do it. First of all, we will go with milliseconds. Later we will convert your final verdict. Your bucket's correct if you record milliseconds. Yeah, that's what we are doing. So we are gonna be going with the milliseconds for now. Later we will switch to seconds, and then let's see what's gonna be the difference. Simple as that. Okay, so without any further delay, let me be back here, and we have done almost everything. So these are the kind of objects that we have. We are getting them just simply calling the particular classes. This is the gauge class. This is the histogram class. This is the request counter class. So these are the ones that I have over here. Close. And in this particular middleware, what am I doing? First of all, as soon as I get the request, I start the time. Okay. Then if the path is actually matrix, at that time the active request is not incrementing. So the thing is that active request keeps incrementing if I'm getting the if I send any request to the matrix, and that matrix is just for getting the info and all, and that is why I'm not incrementing it here. This is the route. Metric is the route from where all the data is going to be exposed related to the monitoring. So if I go to this particular route over here, /matrix async and something like this, const matrix is gonna be await client register matrix. So client is the client that we are getting from promo client, and a register, we are registering all the metrics, and then we are just simply returning them. This is what we are doing over here. Simple, easy peasy. Coming back to this particular stuff, if I'm sending any request to /matrix, of course I will not increase the active request, because that is just for getting the like monitored data. Apart from this particular thing, what will I do? Once this is done, then I will just simply forward the request to the main handler. So ultimately the request will go to the main handler. Main handler will handle that particular request, and at the end I will send the response. And when the response is sent, then what will I do? Request counter increment. Request counter, what it does, it simply increases the request, right? So if you, it depends on like how many requests you got, and inside that you have some labels. You have labels, method, route, and status code. So you will have to specify them over here if you actually remember. So inside request counter we actually add these labels, and because of them only we are just simply specifying them here. Call them after request.on only, request.on finish, so that whenever the request finishes, the response will have the status code. Otherwise by default response has 200 status codes. So status code, that may be problematic. Apart from this particular thing, if the request actually came to /matrix, if the request is not equals to /matrix, Then I'm gonna be decreasing the active request because the response has been sent, so decrease the number of requests. End time, calculated the end time minus start time, this is in milliseconds, keep that particular thing in mind. Once I got that, so I'm gonna be observing the request that it took. So again, using the histogram, what is this used for? First of all, I have created these buckets, and I'm observing the time, like how much time the requests are actually taking. On the basis of that thing, I will be just simply putting the request in one of the in some buckets depending on the time. Coming back this thing, using request duration observe, I'm just simply observing it. Having said that, I do have my labels, method, route, and all these things here. Time taken is this much. I can convert this time into seconds and then just simply give it to this. That will be done as well, but not now. So this is what happens here. Again, we'll not be talking about this much because the day before yesterday, if I'm not wrong, I just wrote the whole logic here and we got the things done. What is the next thing that we are gonna be getting done over here? The next thing that we are going to get done is first of all check whether we are getting the response or not. So ls bun, I'm gonna be starting it on the watch mode, index.ts, like this. I will go to localhost 3000, localhost 3000. There's a lot to do actually today. Hopefully it's gonna be done very soon. This is gonna be the home page. This is the home route that I have over here. A lot in the sense we even have to create the containers, and then we have to run the containers one by one. Then we have to create their images. After that, we have to run them using Docker Compose, and if possible, we have to just simply deploy all the logic. We have to deploy it on an EC2 machine, and from there we have to do the same thing. After that, we have to create or I already have some applications, so I have to deploy them on EC2 machine, as well as the front end will be deployed on EC2. So these are the things that we have to do. Let's get them done one by one. Okay, we can do it. Here we are. So this is the home route. Let me send some of the requests over here. Apart from home route, I have something called users. It will be, I think, resolve. I have one more, and that is health check. I'm gonna be sending some requests over here as well. And then I have something called user. So slash users. So 1 2 3 4 get. Wow, users. What is the problem here? Requests are resolving really quick, and I think this is not expected behavior. Well, this is the expected behavior. So if I send any request to user, no, there is no user, bro. So this is users. Okay, so ultimately I'm not waiting for the, okay, got it. I thought I was waiting for set timeout. Then I will go to CPU, not CPY is not found. Let me send some more requests over here as well. Then let's go to CPU, and this doing this, I'm just simply collecting the data, nothing else, so that I have some monitored data, right? And one more time, and lastly I will go to my matrix. So let me just open the matrix over here as well. So 3000 slash matrix, and finally I'm getting the data. What is this? First of all, I have it simply says that what is the help of HTTP request total. In this particular session, I will get about my total request, HTTP request counter for counting the number of requests. This is the help that I added over here. What is the type? Type is HTTP request total, and this is, what is this? This is a counter, as simple as that. What does counter do? Counts the request. And how do you count the request? Again, HTTP request total. The method is get routed slash root. Status code is 200. There is only one request on the home root route. That's great. And then to the route favicon, status code 404, one request came. To route, all the requests are get. So keep that particular thing. That's easy to get. Then to the home route, 9 requests came. So what happened? When the to the home route, the request came for the first time, the status code was 200, and the like there was only one request for that. And then the next time when the request actually came, the status code was 304, and there were 9 requests on that particular route. Health check route, status code 304, has 7 requests. User route has 404, 1 request, and then users has 1 request, one more, and the status code is 200. Then similarly, users have, with the status code 304, has 10 requests. CPY status code 404, 4 requests, and CPU status code this 1 request. If I reload it, there should be 2 requests right now. Slash matrix status code 200, 1 request, and CPU 304, 1 request. So for the first time CPU returned 200 code, 200 status code, and then it returned a 304. If I reload it, it will become, by the way, this will keep increasing. So yeah, that's it. That's great. It works. What is the next thing that we have to do? The next thing is that let's talk about the gauge. So this is all about counter. When using Prometheus UI, you can just simply add all these things, and you will know the total number of requests that you got. So this way we are just simply getting them. Second, this is the HTTP active request, number of HTTP request, type active request gauge. Again, what is this? What is the type? Type is the active HTTP active requests. What is this? This is a gauge. What does gauge do? It simply calculates active request. What is the active request? Active request is 1. Let me reload it. And what is this request? Why is the request 1? This should usually not happen, but if I'm getting, that simply means I sent a request and I closed then and there. It could be because of that, by the way. Okay, there could be any, maybe because when I'm sending this request, that request itself is treated as active request, but I think when getting this, I stopped this behavior in my code. What I'm doing in my code in matrix middleware over here, I'm just simply saying that if the request.path is not equals to slash matrix, at that time I have to increase the number of active requests. That simply means if that is equals to matrix, at that time I don't have to increase, and similarly if that's equals to matrix, at that time I don't have to decrease either. So this should be overall working fine. But if I'm because I'm getting 1 over here, that simply means I sent a request and I just sent another request, so the response from the previous request could not be sent. I mean, this is what must have happened, but okay, never mind. Coming back to this, this simply tells me about the histogram. So it simply says that HTTP request duration milliseconds histogram. What it says, it just simply says that you have these buckets, bucket with 0.1 millisecond, bucket with 5 millisecond, 20 millisecond, 50, 100, 500, and with these milliseconds till infinity you have these buckets. Great. And what it tells me, it simply tells that bucket in 0.1 millisecond, no request got resolved in less than 0.1 milliseconds. So there are no requests here, and there are no requests in less than 5 seconds as well. There is a request in less than 20 seconds. So a request got resolved in less than 20 seconds. The status code was 200, route was slash and something like this. And as it got resolved in less than 20 seconds, so if something is less than 20 seconds, that simply means that is less than 50 seconds, that is less than 200, that is I mean not less than 200, that is less than 100, that is less than 500. So it is less than almost everything. That does not mean that it got resolved in 200 seconds. No, it got resolved less than 200 seconds. And in fact, if you actually want to check, so if you just want to check how many requests got resolved between 100 milliseconds and 500 milliseconds, so you have to just simply decrease. So 500 minus 1, that simply means 1 minus 1. I mean, the request got resolved in 500 milliseconds, the request got resolved in 100 seconds, in less than 100 seconds. So 1 minus 1, 0. So ultimately no request got resolved. So ultimately over here, between 5 and 50 milliseconds the request got resolved. So 1 minus 0, ultimately 1. I get it. If you pay a little attention, you will be able to understand. By the way, coming back to this, this is the first data that you got, and related to the route slash related to slash route. After that, you got a few more things related to that only. First of all, it says HTTP request duration milliseconds sum. What is the sum of the duration? How much total time it took to just simply process all the requests here? Okay, because initially you got one by one, like less than 20 seconds, or less than 20. So less than 20 seconds one request took. Okay, similarly there could be many requests. So ultimately how much time that was consumed, to just simply process the request? So the sum total time that was consumed, that was 6 in the sense 6 milliseconds were consumed. And apart from this particular thing, HTTP requests duration milliseconds count. How many requests were there? There was only one request. So one request has been there, and 6 milliseconds took to just simply process that. There can be many requests, there can be more time. Coming back to this one, the same thing repeats. So by the way, let me go to this one where we have some we have some different data. It mainly starts from here. So it simply says that here you are talking about favicon co. Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about this. Favicon doesn't really matter. It got sent automatically. We are talking about health check over here. Okay. The status code is 304 all the time. The request that that got resolved in less than 0.1 second is 3. The request that got resolved in less than 5 seconds, that is 7. And then we have 777. That simply means if something got resolved in less than 5 seconds, that simply means that got resolved in less than 20 seconds as well. So if something is less than 5, that is less than 20, that is less than 50, and that is why you have 777 everywhere. And if you actually want to check how many requests got resolved between 5 milliseconds and 20 milliseconds, so request received got resolved in 20 minus request got resolved in 5 seconds, and that's it, the job will be done. So ultimately 7 minus 7, 0. So between 20 and between 5 and 20 milliseconds, 0 requests got resolved. How about the request got resolved between 0.1 and 5 milliseconds? So 7 minus 3, 4 requests, and less than 0.1, 3 requests. So this is how it simply goes. And then below you have some data. What is this data? It is just simply saying that total duration that took to resolve all the requests. How much was that? This is 4 in the sense 4 milliseconds it took to resolve all the requests. How many requests it got total? So the count of those requests is 7. So this is how it just simply, this is what you get at the end, and the same thing gets repeated. So I mean the same thing keep getting repeated. This is the only thing that happens. So ultimately, yeah, we've gone through this. What is the next thing that we have to focus on? The next thing, time taken. Again, keep in mind this time taken is in milliseconds, and the goal is later convert it to seconds, because it is just simply saying that Prometheus prefers it in seconds, and for converting milliseconds into seconds, what do we have to do? These are the milliseconds. If we have to convert them into seconds, so for doing that, milliseconds multiplied by divided by 1000, that will be converted into seconds, and then we will have to convert our buckets into seconds as well. Alrighty then, this much we've done. That's amazing. And again, this code was written yesterday itself, so let's not worry about it too much. What is the next thing? The next thing is that this time let's start working with Prometheus UI. So far we are working with this backend that is again hosted on my local machine, that is running on my local machine, and I'm getting to know about the requests and all directly through that particular route. It's time to just simply set up it's time to set up a Prometheus UI, and again we will be running that Prometheus UI on our local machine only. So initially it will run on local machine, even Grafana will run on local machine. Later then we will deploy it on an EC2 machine, and in this way our application will be running on one EC2 machine. Prometheus and Grafana, they are going to be running on another EC2 machine. Prometheus will pull the data from my this EC2 machine, wherever this code is going to be running, and that's it, the job will be done. So what am I going to be doing first? What all have we done? Let's talk about that. So we have first of all we talked about New Relic, if you actually remembered. So New Relic does nothing. New Relic does this kind of thing only. It New Relic will give you some piece of code. If you run that, New Relic package will be installed on your local device, and that is it. So ultimately your host will be monitored, and New Relic will give you command to run your Node.js application. So your Node.js application will be monitored. So ultimately New Relic gives its own command. You don't have to write that on your own. You have to just simply copy and paste, and that's it, the job gets done. In here with Prometheus and Grafana, you have to do more things, mainly because this is free, and then here you have your own control. You can run your Prometheus container or Prometheus anywhere inside any EC2 machine, and or even on your local machine. Wherever you run Prometheus, it will pull the data from your server. So wherever your server is, it doesn't matter, even it is on your local device. Prometheus job is going to be pulling the data from there, showing it on the UI part in the form of UI, in the form of graphs, in the form of widgets, right? And it can do it from anywhere. It can, if you can deploy your Prometheus server on a Prometheus server or Prometheus file, because at the end that is just a process. So you can deploy Prometheus code on an EC2 machine or directly on a local machine, that doesn't really matter. So this is what actually happens. At the end of the day, you have the control of your own data. That simply means no one knows about your data, you know that, no one can even know. You can just add more authentication stuff and all, but it's gonna be secure, don't worry about that. So yeah, we know about Prometheus structure and all. So far we have created just the backend part. Now we have to work on the uh, Prometheus process, Prometheus code that is mainly used for pulling the data. Kind of, it is kind of a server if I'm not wrong. Oh, is this a server? It is a process. Not sure about the server. It is definitely a process that you can run anywhere that will be responsible for pulling the, even server is just a process, so we are naming that server, but isn't that just a process that is running on some port? As simple as that. Okay, coming back to this, we talked about this. Let's go ahead. Then we have even talked about this raw matrix and all. Let's not worry about that. We have added the code. We even talked about counter, gauge, and histogram, what they do and all. That is simple, easy peasy. And simply in simple words, counter counts the request, how many requests you got. Gauge monitors how many active requests are there. Histogram simply creates the buckets, and on the basis of the time that request took to be processed, those requests are filtered in all those buckets. Simple. So if there is a bucket of less than 5 seconds, so if anything takes less than 5 seconds, that will go in that particular bucket. So this is how it happens. And then we even install a promo client, and then we got the job done. Simple as simple. We've been working on this particular logic. I did not write it again because we wrote it 2 days back. So I mean, what is the use of simply going through the same thing again and again? And why am I facing the network issue? Hopefully I'm not. So once this particular thing is done, we talked about God, we talked about histogram and all. We ultimately covered all the things. Then at the end of the day, this is the time to just simply start working with the Prometheus UI part. So we are gonna be working with that, and let's start an actual Prometheus process that scrapes the Linux machine. Until now we've exposed the slash matrix endpoint, but no one is scraping using it. Scraping in the sense getting the data from the server. Prometheus actually scrapes scrapes in the sense pulls means it gets the data. How will it get the data? We have already exposed this matrix route. The Prometheus will send the request over here, and it will get the data from here. Prometheus actually scrapes and pulls these metrics, so you can visualize them over the time that too over time in the time series manner. So what happens that Prometheus stores your data in time series manner. What you will usually do, you will set a time limit that okay, after 15 seconds you have to send a request. 15 seconds, 15 milliseconds, if you don't know, you will definitely set a time interval. Like it could be like how frequently you should pull the data, because look, the data will keep getting saved over here. So on your server side, the Prometheus client, the promo client that you have installed over here, this will keep saving the data, but your Prometheus UI will keep pulling the data maybe in 15 seconds, maybe in 20 seconds, maybe in 30 seconds. You can specify the time. Whenever we work on that, we will even do that. So you can specify the time. Okay, maybe in 15 seconds you have to send a request to the slash matrix. You have to get the data, and then you have to render the data on the UI part. So this is how we can just simply go ahead. And for that thing, you will have to create a file that is called prometheus.ml. And once you create that, you will just simply run that. Once it runs, the job is done. So scope, config, these are the things that we are going to be doing, and we can just simply run it. Anything else? You can start it with or without Docker as well by installing it. So first of all, look, we can do it manually. We can do it using Docker. We can do it. We can run it using Docker Compose as well. But first of all, we'll do it manually, like just normally running. Then we will get even Docker file, and we'll get it done. And you can start try visiting this. You will notice status targets section. The problem is that container is running on port 3000 on the Prometheus container, and hence it can't discover or service. Containerizing the app, create a Docker file that does this. We can just simply containerize the file of our app. Create Docker Compose that starts the Node.js app as well as the promo client. So we are gonna be doing this, and network update Prometheus.ml. So ultimately it is just simply asking me to do everything manually. Let me do one thing. Okay, what am I gonna be doing? First of all, I'm gonna be running Prometheus. So for running Prometheus, I'm gonna be creating a file for this, and like a Prometheus ML file, and hopefully that's gonna be enough. So prometheus.ml. so this is the file that I have created. Inside that, I'm gonna be specifying the some configuration, and some configuration in the sense global. Again, I'm just simply copying and pasting the things. For now, I understand the stuff, how it works, but I haven't written it on my own. This is my first time writing. So 15 milliseconds. So I want to send the request to the server that is running in every 15 milliseconds, and like how frequently you want to send the data and all. And the second thing is that scrape config. What is the scrape configuration? And the scrape configuration is job name. What is the job name? Let me write it and then I will explain. Node.js app, and then we have static config. Again, I better just simply keep all these things in my notes because I'm hardly gonna remember them. And here you can just simply specify the host. So any host that you have, the host can be anything, and the 3000. So this particular thing is done. What is the problem with this? Problem. Oh, what have I done here? Okay, global Prometheus. I hope I have entered the name correctly. Prometheus.ml, and global. What is Prometheus JSON? How frequently to scrape targets by default? So by default, this is Prometheus JSON. Can you use JSON file over here as well? Prometheus JSON, Prometheus configuration file. Wow, you can keep everything in the JSON format, but this is gonna be too much. Who is gonna be going through this much? So we can actually check out the JSON version of it, but are you really willing to check that? No. Coming back to this, what is the issue with this? One, two, three. What is that? How many spaces does it have? 1, 2. It has 2 spaces. Let me give it 2 spaces. It does have 2. Then 2, 2. Probably. Wow. 1, 1, 2. Okay, turns out scrape config is not allowed. YAML schema. Scrape config is not allowed. Configs is allowed. And then now this is fine. Thank you. As said, this is again my first time, man. I do get stuck with the things, fixing this stuff. So the first thing, it simply tells what it does. So how frequently I scrape target by default. So by default, how frequently it will be getting the data from the database. And apart from this, this is just the configuration. Using this configuration, you can just simply run it. And escape config, Node.js app. What is the name? Escape. This is the escape config. Like it will be pulling the data. It will be scraping the data. So what is the configuration for that? So the configuration is the Node.js app. Apart from this particular thing, we have static config. What is the target? Target is the host and the port 3000. Why port 3000? Because our main app will be running on port 3000. What is the host? There is no host. Why? Because if I run a local host, that is okay, but at the end of the day I will be creating a Docker. If I'm running Prometheus on my local machine, then that is fine. How to run the Prometheus on the local machine? I will have to check this. How do we do that? Port 3000 Prometheus ML, because using this particular configuration, what will happen whenever I mean I'm gonna be running it, I'm gonna be creating a container and then I will be running it. So ultimately this is useful for creating a container and running that. So inside the container, local host means what? Local host means the local host of the container. And because if this Prometheus runs inside a container, and local host means the local host of the container, not the local host of your device, that simply means that particular local host will not be the local host of your your machine, and then it will not be able to find that. So let's simply add host, and we have to write the we have to get it. Like, we don't have the name right host right now. We will be getting it soon. But before even that, I would like to run Prometheus on my local machine. I have my my app running on my local machine server, of course, and I want to run Prometheus as well on my local machine as well. Later I will run Prometheus on inside the container. I will even containerize this particular app, and then we will work on that. But before that, is there any way to run Prometheus on the local machine? Is there any way that I can Docker as well by installing it from source? Let me see how we can do that. Prometheus, how to run it on local device. Here we are, and let me click on getting started, and hopefully first of all, here they are just simply specifying the same thing. Configuration Prometheus to monitor itself. This is a guide to Hello World style tutorial which shows how to install, configure and use a simple Prometheus instance. You will download and run Prometheus locally. We do want to do that. Configure it to scrape itself and an example application, then work with queries, rules, graphs to use collected time series data. Again, this is going to be time series manner. That simply means the data will be the graphs or the data will be organized in the time series manner. Download and run downloading and running Prometheus. So download the latest of Prometheus for a platform, and then extract and run this. Before starting Prometheus, let's configure it. Configure Prometheus to monitor itself. Prometheus collects metrics from targets by scraping matrix HTTP endpoint. Since Prometheus exposes data in the same manner about itself, it also scrape and monitor its own health. While a Prometheus server that collects only data about itself is not very useful, it is a good starting example. Save the following basic Prometheus configuration as a file named prometheus.ml. We have done that. Scrape interval. What is that scrape interval? 15 milliseconds. By default, the scrape targets every 15 seconds. So even if you don't mention it, it will be set by default. Great. What is the next thing? The next thing is that attach these labels to any time series or alert when communicating with external systems, federation, remote storage alert manager. Then external labels, monitor, code lab monitor. So what should be the external label for this? External label, code lab monitor. Label for this particular monitor, I can say Prometheus monitor. So let me add that as well. External labels, and that's gonna be Prometheus monitor. Coming back to this one, I'm gonna be adding it. Why not? External labels and monitor, and that's gonna be Prometheus monitor, just like this. So this is just Prometheus monitor that I have, and it could be what? Node.js app monitor. Prometheus Node.js app monitor. Prometheus. Yeah, that's fine. That's kind of too big, but okay. Scrape configuration containing exactly one endpoint to scrape. So over here, I will just specify which point to scrape, what to scrape. The job title, the job name is added as a label, job label name. to any time series scraped from this config. So the job name is gonna be this Prometheus, job name Prometheus, because we are scraping Prometheus itself over here. So that is why we have this. Otherwise I have my Node.js because I'm gonna be scraping my Node.js. Scrape interval, again, override the global default and scrape targets for this job every 5 seconds. This is the global scrape interval that you have. You can have scrape interval 5 seconds for this one. Static configs is targets, and what is the target that we are scraping? This particular what we are scraping Prometheus itself. Prometheus is running inside at port 9090, and first of all, whenever you run it, a container will be created, and when the container will be created, so inside the container what is running? Inside the container Prometheus is running, and what you are doing, you are adding localhost. That simply means inside the container localhost simply means localhost of the container. So localhost of the container and colon 9090. So you will be monitoring Prometheus running inside the containers. That is okay. Starting point, start Prometheus. By default, Prometheus stores its database in data flag storage tsdb path Prometheus config file prometheus.ml. Prometheus should start up. You should also be able to browse to status page with status page about itself. Localhost 90, give it a couple of seconds to collect the data about itself. It's on HTTP matrix endpoint. You can also verify the Prometheus is serving matrix about itself by navigating to its matrix endpoint localhost /matrix. So use by the way, Prometheus itself exposes slash matrix route. Amazing. And Prometheus, because of this, Prometheus can like monitor itself. We will work on this using the expression browser. Okay. You know what? There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to go with. But if I just simply keep reading, it's not gonna make any sense. So let's simply switch to those things which make more sense. So volumes, bind mount, they're just simply asking me to run it directly using container. So using Docker, okay. Apart from this particular thing, using configuration. So the easiest way to install and run it, that happens using Docker. So I'm gonna be going with this. So what I'll do, I will run Prometheus inside a Docker because that's what I know and that's what is mentioned here. Later I will try my level best, but of course there must be a way. So I will try to run Prometheus on my local machine as well directly without the container. Right now I'm gonna be running it using the container, and that's the easiest way if I'm not wrong. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna be doing. I already have this configuration, whatever I have to do. One thing is missing. I don't have this host over here, so I will be adding the host later. Okay, so let me do that right now. And apart from this particular thing, once it is running inside a container, I can even monitor itself, so that we can do that too. So what we can do, what we want, Prometheus will be running inside the container and we will be monitoring the Prometheus itself. Prometheus by default runs on 9090. So let's do one thing. Instead of monitoring Prometheus monitor, instead of monitoring the Node.js, I will be monitoring the Prometheus process itself, and then let's see how it's gonna be going on. And this is gonna be Prometheus. It will be running inside the container. Now this localhost will work because inside localhost simply refers to the localhost of the container. So this is how we are gonna be going on. And as for the command, Prometheus 9090, Prometheus ml at etc, Prometheus ml, and from Prometheus. Coming back to this, so it is just simply saying that docker run port is gonna be 9090. What is gonna be the volume? So /path to prometheus.ml etc Prometheus and this. So first of all, you have to just find out the path of Prometheus file. That path will be bounded to forms of bind. I think that is bind when bind verb. Let's learn English together. What else? Bound. Is it binded to at some places? Okay, bound. Let's go with bound. Coming back to this one. So what was I saying? I started learning English on the go. Okay, by the way. So I was just simply saying that first of all, you have to find out the path of the Prometheus.ml file, and after that, file will be bound to the file created inside the etc prometheus.ml, and this will be created inside the container. So prometheus.ml file that got created inside the container, the prometheus.ml file that you have on your local machine, that file will be bound that file will be bound to the file inside the container, and then you are installing Prometheus, and once you run this particular docker command, once you run this particular thing, so it will start running. How will it know? Like apart from this, but or mount the directory Prometheus ML onto the etc Prometheus by running 9090 config etc Prometheus. So we can just directly get the config. By the way, we will be going with the first one, and apart from this particular thing, we can do many more things, but let's go with this one only for now. And let's get started. So what I have to do, I already have, by the way, setting command line parameters. Docker image is started with a number of default command line parameter which can be found in Docker file. Ultimately, whenever we run that, so this is what happens. So what happens? We work dir, create the work dir. Before even that, we get the OS, ARC, AMD. We get Linux, AMD 64. This is used for that only from this. So ultimately we get this particular image. Once we got this particular image, then we are setting the labels. After that, copying the stuff, creating the work dir, running the command. User nobody, exposure 9090 port, volume and all. Ultimately there are many things. Lastly, this particular command line runs. Okay, overall I know about these commands. What they do inside that, like whatever, I don't care. At least right now at this level, I should not go too deep into them. There's gonna be a time I will be exploring them in depth. By the way, bind your Prometheus ML from your host running machine. So we have already created this. We already have Prometheus.ml, and it simply says that it defines the configuration that is scraping in 15 milliseconds. External level is Prometheus monitor, and what we'll be doing, the job name is gonna be Prometheus, and the target is gonna be localhost 9090, and that particular target will be scraped. So Prometheus, whenever we run it, so ultimately Prometheus itself will be what? It will itself be monitored. So this is what we are gonna be doing. So without any further delay, let's simply get started and let's run the command. Let me stop my I will stop the process, the server that was running, and right now we are gonna be running the Prometheus inside a Docker container. One more thing would be great here, if I could somehow install Docker today, because Docker desktop, I have many installed Docker desktop on, not on Windows. On Ubuntu. Sudo apt install gnome terminal. First of all, we need to do this, and then we can install Docker. Okay, let's do that. It's good to have Docker, because Docker desktop, because otherwise you will keep writing lots of commands. I don't have any problem with that, but it takes, here you can just simply delete lots of stuff directly, lots of images and all, and that's why it's better. Coming back to this one, sudo apt update and then install docker desktop dev. Okay, it will be installed. So copy, paste, enter. Let's go to the next one, and that is it. Hopefully it will be installed. Let's wait for a while, and then docker desktop will be installed. And I think for using docker desktop you need to do unsupported file. What to do? No. Okay, so coming back to this one, install docker. I've done that. Set up docker. Got that. I don't have this. Download db package. Install in app repository. Install apt repository. So this way we can install docker engine. So we don't want engine, then we want this file, and this file can be downloaded from here. That is already downloaded. Amazing job. This file was missing, so that was the problem. 442. Thankfully my network is quite fast. 5G, the power of 5G. What else? I told you in the beginning, there's a lot. By the way, how long has it been? How long? It's been 56 minutes. Okay, let me install docker and then I will start running it. And this thing is done. I think it's time to rerun the same command again, and hopefully it will do the job. So I need to go to cd downloads, and right now I have this particular docker image. Run it. This time ideally I should not be getting the error. Apart from this particular thing, launch docker desktop, navigate to docker desktop application, kde, select docker desktop, docker subscription service agreement, select accept, continue. Docker desktop starts after you accept the terms, and then note docker desktop won't run if you do not agree to the terms. You can choose to accept terms at a later date by opening the docker desktop. For more information, do this. Alternatively, open terminal, run systemctl user start docker desktop. It will be started. Then docker compose version. This if you run what after you've installed it, install a docker desktop, you can check the versions of these binaries by running the following commands. So if you run docker compose version, you will be getting a docker compose version. This docker version, you will be getting the version of the docker version, just this much you will be getting this. Okay, got it. Systemctl enable. I mean, there's actually a lot, but okay, we are good with this. Come on, coming back to this one, install it. Yeah, yes, let it install. Hopefully it's gonna be quick. We have to do a lot of things, but the thing is that even if I want, I can't get. It's not hard, but we have to get many things done actually. Okay. Oh, permission denied, bro. You got to. It's already sudo. Download is performed unsandboxed as root. This couldn't be accessed. The user after package run this. I got docker desktop. Remaining things I'll fix. Except continue with Google. Let me close this now. Done. What is the problem? Control W. This needs to be here. This needs to be okay. Everything needs to be here. Everything is important. Why am I not able to continue? It could not install successfully. It turns out, even if I have that installed, something went wrong, and because of that thing, it is not working. Congratulations. By the way, it is already here. So let me quit. It should be turning on. Starting Docker engine. Thankfully, it is started. Unable to log in. You must initialize past before logging in the Docker. Okay. So learn how. sign into Docker desktop. Docker recommends signing in with the sign in option in the top right. Okay, benefits starting. I generate a GPG key. You can initialize pass by using the GPG key to generate this. So this is how it will be generated. Then I will get something like this. Then copy the GPG ID. Use mkdir. Yeah. Hi. Oh my god, literally. So copy that, pass in it. So I have to just simply copy it here. You should see the output something like this. Once you initialize pass, you use credentials, use prompt password during GPG. Okay, let me run this thing. I don't know whether I should share my screen on at this particular time. So I'm gonna be just simply running the command, the same command that's being shown here. Let me run it and let me see. Real name needs to construct a user ID. Identify your key. Key. There should be name for the key, right? Just a minute. Name is gonna be desktop Vipendra. Let me enter Vipendra over here. The real name is gonna be Vipendra. Email address is gonna be Vipendra. Just adding some like credentials, nothing else, and following the command whatever is mentioned there. Change name, email, or okay. Enter the phrase to protect your new key. Okay, I need to enter the phrase to protect my new key, and that's gonna be what? Okay. You have entered an insecure passphrase. A passphrase should be at least 8 characters long. Okay, take this one anyway, or let's create a new one. That's okay. New one, passphrase. Okay. Done. Hopefully they are right. Click OK. Generate. Done. I got my key. I'm just simply following the steps given there, nothing else. So I will be even telling you exactly what I did, but before that, let me get it done properly. Copy it. Copy it. I will be showing you everything, but before that, pass init and this. Okay, let me do that. Come back to this. Pass init and do this. Password is stored initialized for this. Okay, what is the next thing? The next thing is mkdir created. Yeah, that's done. Once you initialize pass, you can sign in and pull your private images. When Docker CLI or Docker desktop use credentials, a user prompt may pop up for the password you set during GPG key password. Okay, passphrase. So that is it. I think now I should be able to sign in. Oh yeah, I will be telling you the way. Just a sec. And this is gonna be done. So what exactly I did, and how you can use a Docker on Ubuntu, and most importantly, how you can sign up. That's the important part. Alrighty, let me start sharing the screen again. Sorry for that. I have to just simply stop sharing it for a while. Coming back to this, I have logged in on my Docker, and what exactly I did, just simply followed everything here. So if you go to this sign in to Docker desktop, so over here, first of all, you have to generate the GPG key. Once you generate that, so you will be getting something like this. But before even getting this, you will have to enter the name for the key. What should be the not name, your real name. You will have to enter your Gmail, and that is it. And then you will get a passphrase to enter. Passphrase is kind of password, so you will have to generate the password for that. That name is passphrase. So you have to just add these things. Then you will be getting a key like this. Then you have to copy the key from here, and you have to enter pass in it and the key. Once you just enter it with like this in this format, then you will get something like this created directly. This password stored initialized for this and all. So once you got this kind of message, that simply means everything got done. Now you can go to your Docker. You can click on the sign button that is shown over here on the right top corner, and just click on sign in. You will get the option to sign in with Google, and that will be done. So this is what happens. Hopefully I've explained it well, and this does work. So this much is done. What is the next thing? Okay, let me go to my Docker. Let me click on images. It turns out I don't have any images. Local images. Search images to run. Well, I don't have any images. That's so. Just a sec. Let me come here. ls. Sorry. Here. Coming back to this particular section, ls, and sudo docker images. Enter the password. So these are the images that I have. That's great. How to delete the images? And most importantly, if I open my Docker, first of all, I will not get that because that's already on over here. Let me quit the Docker from here. Let me pin it to dash. First of all, it's going to be pinned over here. I will have to enter the passphrase, save in the password manager, and the passphrase. Okay, this is done. Enter. So now I'm inside that. Click on the images, and question is, to do a backend, this. These are the images that I have on my Docker file. Why am I not getting the images that are on my local? Kubernetes builds. So I think whatever things I build now, they are gonna be available here. That's crazy. But okay. So what will I do here? Let me see whether it actually goes like that or not. Coming back to this one, these are the images that I have, and once I have these images, let me clear the things from here. What is the next thing that I have to do? I have to run the Docker, right? So Docker, is there any process running? Sudo docker process status. So these have been the processes running. So let me remove all of them. So Docker remove. Do I need to remove MongoDB? No. Do I need to remove this? Definitely yes. So copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, 3, paste, and then lastly this one, copy, paste, enter. And what is happening? Okay, they've been deleted. So Docker process, of course I'll have to add sudo, and right now I have 2 of them running. First one is this. Let me remove this as well. So sudo docker remove. What do I want to remove? I want to remove this container with the container ID. This had been removed. So sudo docker process status A. Now I have only one, that is the MongoDB container, and that is mounted at a 27017 port. So that is okay. I need it because this is mainly this is the one that contains my MongoDB related data stuff. Let's clear it. Sudo. What is the next thing that I have to do? Sudo docker run. What is the command to run over here? The command to run. Let me be back here. First of all, I have to specify the port numbers. So 9090 on my local machine will be mounted to 9090 on the container. After that, I have to mount the volumes. So volumes. But am I on the right page? Yes, I am on the right page. What is the next thing? The next thing is that I have to find the path of my Prometheus ML that is already in the current directory. Let me even show that to you. So if I say ls, I have this Prometheus ML file here, And if I cat Prometheus cat ml, so if you have a look over here, the target is the Prometheus, the job is Prometheus. That simply means I will be monitoring Prometheus itself, and it is localhost 9090 on the container. Localhost means the container's localhost, so it will be able to find the process running on 9090, because by default the container, the Prometheus runs on 9090 port on the container, and I'm exposing it to 9090 for my local machine, but okay, that's fine. Okay, I hope it does make sense. So docker sudo docker run, the port number is gonna be 9090 on my local machine and 9090 on the container, because the Prometheus will be running the Prometheus service. What is this? Is this a service or what? Okay, Prometheus server, this is a server. Prometheus server will be running, yeah, of course, server, yeah. So Prometheus server will be running on 9090 port. Apart from this, but let me make it a bit bigger, I mean this much is fine. And what is the next thing? The next thing is that binding the volume. So slash Prometheus ml, that is on my local machine. I will be binding it to what? I will be binding it to slash etc slash Prometheus slash ml. So let me do that. Slash etc slash Prometheus slash Prometheus dot yaml. I hope I've written it right. Slash etc slash Prometheus dot ml. I just go ahead with the things like this. Prometheus. Okay, everything's right. So what will happen? That the container will be running this Prometheus. A container will be created. On that container, Prometheus will be running on port 9090, and on my local machine there is a file called prometheus.ml, and that file will be mounted to what? That file will be mounted to etc prometheus.ml inside the container. So inside the container, in this particular path, a prometheus.ml will be created, and all the data like this will be mounted to that. So the data that is here in this particular file will be available inside the container as well. So this is what actually happens. And lastly, what I have to do, Prometheus. I don't have this. This will be installed. If I don't have, if you have, then okay, Prometheus. Okay, this is how we are gonna be going ahead. So this is the name of the image. If you don't have the image will be installed. If you have the image, congratulations, it will not be installed, it will be running. And one more thing that I would like to do, I would like to run it in detached mode. I hope there is a way. I mean, is this mentioned here? No, this hasn't been. Let's not even run it in the detached mode. Let's simply run it. Error did this. Targets, labels, mode, labels, symbols. Time, label, error, source main 6, main loading config, etc Prometheus file, etc Prometheus error parsing ml file, etc Prometheus ml unmarshal, line number 10. Is this fine now? I mean, this is usually fine. Okay, just a minute. Target not found. Target not found in type struct target string ml. This labels model. I'm inside Prometheus and I. Okay. Once I'm inside this Prometheus model and external labels, let me remove this label from here as well. No, I mean, it will not make any difference. Localhost 9090. So if I run this from Prometheus, what is the meaning of this error? Let me Control C, paste it here. Can't load a Prometheus ML config with Docker Prom. Is this unable to load? Scrape this, monitor this, scrape file, job name, scrape 5 seconds, static, localhost, targets, localhost, this labels, this group. So getting this, I am following latest installation. By the file exist, do you mean the file Docker run this Prometheus. It's covered under volumes and bind in the documentation. I'm using Docker Compose ML. Uh, so Docker Compose ML for Prometheus only. So okay, this is gonna be the image. This is user is gonna be root, the volume and the command. I was doing the same in, when you use volumes, you have to put paths that are registered on Docker configs, like this much. So when you use volumes, you have to put paths that are registered on the Docker config. Prometheus config is gonna be equals to config file etc Prometheus this. So we have to add this configuration. Docker run this name Prometheus my network. Even we have to run the Prometheus in a network, that is okay. Prometheus ml etc Prometheus. Okay, kind of doing the same thing, but getting the issue, like getting the error. Forget about the even the issue. What is the next thing that I can do? Create Prometheus data. I'm getting it from the current directory and try. Tuding, 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 tuding. Either response from daemon, failed to create task for the container, failed to create shim OCI, create failed this able to start this process either during container error monitoring Prometheus. Okay, that simply means I need to add dot. This is the problem. Just a minute, let me go to my notes, go through my notes, not to my notes. I had this Docker related stuff. I think there was a path related issue a while ago as well. I saved that thing. Oof. These are the commands I once saved them here. Anything that can help me? How can I specify the path? Docker run while setting the volume. Okay, usually we do it like this only, directly. So when I'm specifying a path Postgres DB volume to this, at that time I'm setting it directly. Let me give it to the AI as well. I wanna figure this thing out. Control C, come back here, give it to the AI, not this. Tell me why. What is the issue with this? The error message tells exactly what is wrong. Line number 12, field target is not found. Prometheus express target plural, not target. Oh no. Oh, seriously. Coming back to this. What is the configuration? Where is the configuration? This is the configuration. This is targets. Whew. Okay, sorry. Such a silly mistake. This should be targets. Let me run it again. Let me clear everything first of all. Let me run the same command again. This is this command that I'm actually running. And if I run it, docker sudo this Prometheus, run it. Finally. Sorry, the last time I messed up with the things. So by the way, what is happening here? Info source manager, starting a rule manager, component rule manager. Server is ready to receive web requests. So server is ready to receive web requests. We are actually monitoring the Prometheus itself right now. That simply means if I go to 9090 port number on my local machine, because over here the process is running on 9090 port, but the same thing has been exposed on 9090 port on my local machine. So localhost I'm so bad at this. Local enter, and here we are. This is the UI of Prometheus. Okay, and how do we get the things? We don't have any data here as such, but okay, we are monitoring Prometheus itself, but I don't know how to. Histogram count. There's no data as such right now. Why am I even looking for histogram count? What else? The thing is that Prometheus is monitoring itself, nothing else. And don't look at me like this. I'm myself looking at the at the written things. CPU put undefined loading, and again this is my first time going through this. I did take the help of teacher, but again sorry, I didn't know that the mic wasn't on, so I was just simply saying that one of my parcels got delivered, and because of that thing, was supposed to be delivered, and the delivery guy just simply called me up. By the way, this particular thing doesn't seem to be working as expected, so let me make it quick now. So what we've done so far, we have been just simply monitoring we've been monitoring Prometheus using Prometheus, but we don't have to do that. Rather, we have to do what? We have to monitor our Node.js. So Node.js app monitor. We wanna monitor this, and then Prometheus localhost, and again we don't have the host name, so we need to have the host name anyhow over here. That host name is going to be what we will decide once we actually start running our app. So when we start running our app, we will get the name of the app, and once we get the name of the app, so that's it. The job will be done. And that name itself references to the ID of the container, so it will be done. So we have to just I have to enter the name of the app. The name of the app can be Node.js. Node.js app. It depends, like whatever I want to name that, I can name that, and this is how I can just simply go ahead. But for now, let's simply have host name over here. Apart from this particular thing, ls Leary sudo docker process status. So these are the processes that are running. What do I want to do? I want to stop all of them. So sudo docker process status. None are running right now, but these were the ones that were running earlier, right? So sudo docker remove, and I'm gonna be removing all the processes. Control C V, Control C, literally CV, CV, and lastly CV. Enter. Control Shift A. Okay. Ooh, what have I done here? Sorry, I just wrote something. Yeah, something like this. Coming back to this one, Docker. What I have to do now? First of all, let me do one thing. Let me containerize this. So far, we have been containerizing the Prometheus itself, and we've been running it inside the container. The next thing is that I have to containerize my app as well, the server that I have. I have to containerize this, and I have to run this. Why? So that I can get the IP address of the container. How will I get the IP address of the container? Using the name of the container. So the name of any container means the ID of that particular container, IP address of that particular container, because the name is the DNS of that particular container. So the name itself references to the IP address of the container. So if I want to get the IP address of the container, I will have to use the name. Apart from this particular thing, why can't I do it directly? I can't do it directly because over here, when running the Prometheus, because I'm running Prometheus inside a container, I have to enter the host name over here. And how will I get the host name? Host name in the sense either add the host name or add the IP address. I mean, these are the options that you have. So either you add the IP address, we cannot get the IP address directly, but we can definitely get the DNS name. So we can get the DNS name, and that DNS name is nothing but the name of the container, because the name of the container references to the IP address of the container. So what do we have to do? We have to, let's have host name over here. We have to containerize our application, this whole our app, and once it is containerized, we will get the name. Once we got the name, the same name we have to add over here. So ultimately, Prometheus will know the name, and that name is the container's name. And if any request goes there, so that name automatically references to the IP address. So the name will automatically send to the IP address of another container. First of all this, but even if you got the IP address, you will not be able to connect until unless they are on the same network. So if something, suppose if two people are on the same network, they can talk to each other using the IP address. But if they are not on the same network, then that's gonna be, of course, not possible. I hope I'm live, because in between I got a call and everything got hung up. Am I audible? Prometheus? I'm live. Yeah, I am live. Okay, so what I'm simply saying, that if you want to connect two people, so simply if two people PEOPLE, if two people want to connect to each other locally, so they need to be connected to the same network. So they need to be if they want to connect, so they need to be connected to the same network. That simply means you need to create a network, and that network, once you created that, then connect both the people to the same network. Right now we are doing it manually. Later we will do it using Docker Compose. So in Docker Compose, things are really easy to do, but before that, let's do everything manually. Doing everything manually in the sense, first of all, we will create a Docker file to containerize our node app. Okay, so this is how we are gonna be going ahead. Okay, usually how do we create a Docker file? I'm not gonna look at the code. Docker file, usually if I want to containerize something, so I forgotten actually. I am not gonna be looking at on my notes. In that case, I'm definitely gonna be making lots of mistakes. Overall, let me tell you what do we do. We get the image first of all from somewhere, mainly node image. How do we get the node image? I'll have to make a Google search. So I think Alpine or something. Yeah, Alpine, from Alpine slash some version and all. So we get the image. Once we get the image, after that, what next? We create work dir, and that work dir can be anything like app slash source, just like this. So we create the work dir. Once we have created the work dir, then we copy we mainly copy package.json. So package.json, we copy package.json inside the container, and after that we install everything. So we run if we are running bun, so bun install. Once this is done, and even we need to get we need to get the image of bun. How do we get the image of bun? We'll see that. image of bun. We will check this thing out exactly how we can get that, because of course we are using bun here, so I need to have bun there, and I need to even have bun will automatically have Node.js if I'm not wrong. So we have to click on install. After that, once everything is installed, I have to copy everything. So copy everything from here to the container, and once it is done, then I will even be mentioning my port. So I will be exposing which port I will be exposing which port 3000 port, because it will be running on 3000 port. And lastly I will have command, and that command will say what, bun run and dev, if I'm not wrong. Let me check. Bun run. Hey, I don't have. I'll have to create that as well. So scripts dev for the development mode, bun index.ts. Yeah, it will even work. And for the production, I can have one more, start bun index.ts. Even on production, it's gonna be working fine. Coming back to this one, overall this should be fine. Okay, so this much we've done. The thing is that the best thing is that in bun you don't need to compile from JavaScript to TypeScript. Bun can directly run TypeScript, so that's the best thing. Okay, coming back to this. So overall, these are the things that you have to do. Now let me have a look at the code of my nodes, and even that is not gonna be complete if I'm not wrong. Once you get the how to get the image of the bun. How to get the image of bun? Can we do? Is it possible to do that, or we'll have to install bun images? Runtime. So containerized bun application with Docker. Okay, here it is as base. So we have to do it like this, right? If I'm not wrong, first of all I have to get this. So o1 bun 111 as this. So let me do that. If I get it as base image, so base from base as install. Use the official bun image. See all versions as at the this as base, this from base as install mkdir temp dev package json bun lock this run cd temp bun install mkdir temp prod package.json bun lock temp prod. Bun run index.ts. Copy node modules from temp directory, then copy all non-ignored projects. Okay, containerizing bun, discord, docker bun, express with bun. I think that is what I have to do. But we don't have to do this. We have to go with docker. We want to containerize the stuff. So use official bun image. See all the versions at this particular thing. Bun o1 this as base. After that from base as install, run mkdir, and temp dev will be created. Package.json to bun lock. All these things will be copied to this one. Okay. After that cd temp dev bun and bun install frozen log file. Install with the production exclude dev dependencies. So run mkdir temp board prod. This is for the temp dev. So ultimately we are creating the things. Okay, got that. That will be created inside the container itself. Work dir, and then a new dir will be created inside that, and then we will start working with the stuff. And then production, this run build. In the production we have to build this. Copy the install temp prod this node modules. User bun expose this, and this is how it's gonna be going on. I'm wondering how I wrote the code earlier. Or file. It was using node npm run start. Is that possible? Huh, I've been using node here. Got it. There is a difference. Last time I used node and this time I'm working with bun, so I will have to go with the way bun actually works. Okay, great. New challenge altogether. I don't really have any other option. I will have to go with this, and even we need to build bun. So bun run build, it will be built, and once it is built, I will have to run bun run index.ts. Copy production dependencies and source into the final image. This is for the production, but what do I have to go with? Let's do one thing. Let's continue. Copy paste. What else? We'll see what happens later. First thing, what happened? From bun01 as base. So let me ask even this. As base means what? But as I have started, I have only one option to just simply go forward. Even if I don't know about something, I'll know that by searching. So as base means, in Docker, the keyword as is used to name a build stage in multi-stage build line. So it means start a new build stage using the image this and name this stage as base. So why name a stage? So you can reuse files from it later in other stages. So from open base as workdir copy JSON from base as install. So run bun install. So base environment installs dependencies final runtime container. Important part, the syntax allows you to do a copy from base or copy from install, which copies files from another stage. Why multi-stage builds are used? They reduce image size, separate a build in and versus this. Avoid shipping unnecessary tools like compilers. Coming back to this. So this is as base. So now I'm installing it as base. From base is as install. So everything will be installed, and then you have no idea how it feels. Okay, coming back to this. So real flow, build code copy only compiled output. Example real flow, build code copy only compiled output, final image becomes much smaller. So ultimately from node this as builder work created copied and run npm run build. Once run npm run build, after that from node 20 workdir app copy from builder. What am I copying from builder? App dist. So I built it here. Once I built it here, from builder app dist node dist server.js, builder builds the app, final image only gets dist. So that the final image gets only the dist. First of all, what is this used for? This is used for building the images, and if I'm building the images, the final one should be getting only dist, and this is in short, as base means give this stage the name base so it can be referenced later. If you are running Docker, which it looks like you are with Prometheus plus containers, I can also explain why modern next bun Docker files usually have 3 stages: base, builder and runner. देखते हैं. So from O1 bun as base, work dir I created the work dir, and after that from base as install dependencies into temp dir. This will cache them and speed up the future builds. Use the official bun image see all versions at http this one, and this much is done. After that, from bun base install, run mkdir. So inside app, temp dev is created, package json bun lock is inside, they are copied, and after that cd into temp dev and bun install frozen log file, done. Install with production, exclude dev dependencies. So mkdir to temp prod. First of all, you will have to create this, then copy everything, then cd this bun install frozen file production, and then from base as a pre-release. So copy from install temp dev mode normal. What is this? Okay, can I copy it all? I mean, I'm going to have a headache now. Never expected that I will have to go through this much. I mean, it could be even it can be simpler. But okay, even it can be simpler, why not just learn about this? If I got the chance, let's do it. I have a headache right now. Whew. This Docker file is a multi-stage build designed to make the final image small, secure. I mean, come on, pronunciation. Small, secure, and fast to build. I'll explain each stage in simple terms. Okay. From oven build as base, work dir this. What happens here? Uses the official bun runtime image, names this stage base, sets the working directory to user. Ultimately, this is where I will be working. Every later stage that says from base will start from this setup, same setup. Amazing, yeah, amazing, love it. Next, install stage dependencies. From base as install, this installs dependencies, dev dependencies. Right? So from base means gets everything, this much, right? And as install, this installs dependencies, dev dependencies. Then run mkdir this package.json, bun did this, and this install all the files. This installs all dependencies including dev dependencies. Why? Because things like test, builds, TypeScript linters are usually dev dependencies. Production dependencies, blah blah. This installs only production dependencies. So this bun install frozen file production dependencies. In production we don't need to have what? We don't need to have dev dependencies, so it only install the production ones. Okay, and what do we need to do? We don't need to run it like create the image for production, so it's better to just simply have it here right now. This installs only production dependencies, so we have this helps keep the final image small. So we are even creating two folders, two directories inside the same image. Image in the sense container. One is for production, another is for development. This helps this peerless stage build plus test. From this we prepare the app, copy dev dependencies, copy from install dev node modules, and this gives us full dependencies. So we copy all the dependencies, copy source. Now the container has the whole project. Set environment. So we got the node modules, we got the whole project. Node modules environment production. Run one test. This ensures the build the build fails if test fail. Build image bun run build. Example output might be dist build and compile as JS. Stage final image from base as release. This becomes the final Docker image from release. From release means what? Okay. Release. Okay, from base as release, this becomes the final Docker image copy production. So copying temp dev node modules to this. Now we only include production dependencies like these ones, which reduces image size. Copy, we need this index.ts. So copy pre-release. From the pre-release, this only essential files are copied. This prevents unnecessary files. Runtime configuration, run as non-user. Okay, user bun, this improves security. expose port TCP your applications on port 3000 starts this bun run index.ts full flow of the bind base image npm install dev dependencies. I have the base image, then install dev dependencies production images pre-release copy dev node modules this release final image. Why this pattern is used? Docker file achieves faster builds, smaller. It can be faster, it can be smaller, but I haven't understood it all. I can keep it simpler. I can go with the normal configuration as well, and maybe explore it later some other time. As base gets everything from the base as install, and installs the creates temporary div, I mean temp and for development mode, gets the package on bun and installs everything. Same does the same for the production, and but for production only this much is done. Apart from this particular thing, this is something called pre-release. So from base in the sense I'm getting only this much right now, and as release I'm just simply naming it once it is released, and after that copy from install. This is okay, just a minute, I missed this one. So there is something called pre-release. So from base, first of all I got the temp dev, I got the temp production, and then pre-release from base in the sense from here I got as pre-release. From install, what am I gonna be installing? Temp dev node modules. So I got basic structure from here. Once I got the basic structure, that simply means app is already there. So I'm just simply saying that temp dev node modules. From node modules I'm only going to get the node modules. So from node modules I'm gonna be getting the node modules, because there are many things. Package.json is there, but I don't really need package.json, right? mkdir temp package.json bun log temp dev, they are inside temp dev, and I don't need these files, rather I just need the node modules. So once I do it, I will get the node modules. Once I get the node modules, so temp dev node modules, from the node modules I'm just simply getting the node modules. I'm copying everything in the sense copying everything from the current directory to this directory, from the local host to the from the local machine to the container. So everything is going to be copied there. So then copy all non-ignored project files into the image. Non-ignored in the sense that are not ignored one. Okay, great. So this thing is done. Apart from this particular optional test and build node environment, that's gonna be production. Bun test, bun run build. Node this, okay, bun test, that is also okay. Bun run build will be building it. Then from base image I'm already getting this release. Once I'm getting this, so first of all from the production I'm getting the node modules. From the pre-release, what does pre-release has? It has the node modules and everything else. So from there I'm getting user source app index.ts, and from the index.ts I'm getting everything, and from pre-release I'm getting the package.json. So I have these two things from there, and that is okay. This should not be like this, because I may have many files as well. In that case I should have everything from the app to the current one, and then running it. Copy, paste, got it, understood. I can customize it for my own app. Ooh, finally. So what all am I gonna be doing here? First of all, this will be for what? This will be mainly for production, and when this is mainly for production, it's not like let me start from the beginning. Let me get rid of this. So first of all I'm getting this. This is gonna be the base image as base. Then install dependencies into temp dir, and this will cache them and speed up the builds. Install dependencies into temp directory. This will cache them and then speed up future builds. So in future, if I'm gonna be building, so it's gonna be speed up. Okay. From base, creating a development, and this is temp dev, and at the end of the day I will have temp production, and after production I will have my main build image. Great. So temp.dev package.json bun lock, I'm gonna be getting everything inside temp.dev, and that temp.dev is actually gonna be inside app. So inside the app I have temp.dev, cd temp.dev. Okay, I'm going inside the temp.dev, installing bun and frozen file. Okay, that's done. Then install with the production, exclude dev dependencies. So with production I'm gonna be excluding dev dependencies and all. So this is what is gonna be happening over here. Production dev, let me have just prod over here. So this thing is done. For that thing again I'm creating another folder, and I'm just simply doing everything actually over here. Just one thing is that this is for production, so this will have the node modules that without the dev dependencies it will have everything. What is the next thing? Copy node modules from temp.dir and then copy all non-ignored project files into the image. So simple, copy delete this. From pre-release, what is pre-release? As pre-release from base image, that is fine. From install temp.dev, so temp dev node modules and this. So I'm gonna be getting all the files including the dev dependencies as well, and I'm gonna be getting it from install. So I'm just simply copying everything from install in the sense this particular image that I have. So this was the image, and I'm just simply installing everything from the node modules. That simply means it even has it even has come on, has dev dependencies as well, just like this. Okay, let's not worry about this. So it does have that too. And after that, what am I doing? After that, I'm just simply copying everything. So once everything is copied, so this pre-release has all the node modules, has all the dev dependencies. After that, optional test build. So this is just for the testing purpose. So let me have it here. That's not really a big problem. Even the things that I actually removed earlier, the logs, so I can make it a bit better here. So let me get rid of this. One comment is fine, right? Install with production dev dependencies and copy all non-ignored ones, so that will be done. I even need to have a .docker ignore, if I'm not wrong. Don't know. I think I need to have that. I think .docker ignore. There is a file like that that ignores the files and all. And optional test. So node, the node environment will be set to production because okay, that's fine. That's what I want. Bun test will be testing it. Bun run build will be running it. And then copy production dependencies and secure code. So what I'm gonna be doing? From release, what am I from base as release, this is gonna be release one. So first of all, I'm installing from install, I'm getting all the node modules. Install prod, as install, I even got this, and I even got this. So both. So from where the from starts, that's the new one, the new the new starting point, ultimately the new branch you can call it. And these two folders are being created there, and once they are created, so install contains that as well. So ultimately what am I saying? Release from install, I'm gonna be getting the node modules that will only contain the production ones. After that, from pre-release user source app index.ts. And what I have to do, I already copied everything pre-release, right? So pre-release has everything, and as it has everything, so inside source it has app, inside source app, and then it has everything. It has mainly index.ts file, but I don't just have to worry about index.ts file, rather I have to worry about more things. So in the current directory, I'm gonna be getting the package.json. One more thing that I will be getting, state is gonna be what? State is gonna be pre-release /user src slash app slash matrix to matrix. Is this gonna be fine? I will have to even get it checked. Whatever I wrote, hopefully this is right. And this is done. From pre-release user app package.json and this, and at the end I'm gonna be converting it to user bun. Okay, fine. And then 3000 TCP bun run index.ts. So let me get this checked. Whatever I wrote here, I made some changes. So they were expected. Is this right? This is your final production image. It copies the files earlier stage. Okay, this node modules. So this copies only production dependencies. Install this temp prod node modules, source user source app node modules. So your container now has node modules right now, yeah, with the node dev dependencies. Pre-release this index dot copy the matrix folder. Yeah, I'm gonna be copying this. Copies the matrix likely. Okay, got it. Hopefully this is right. Okay, what is the next thing? Then run this done. What is the next thing? We have written the code for containerizing this. For creating the image. Of course, first of all, image is gonna be created. So entry point is gonna be this entry point cmd. Okay, entry point, whatever you call that. Why are we using entry point instead of using a cmd? It's for both entry point and cmd tells Docker what commands to run when a container starts, but they behave differently. Entry point defines the main command that always runs when the container starts. Docker always runs run this, and even if you pass extra argument like port through 4000 and all, Docker actually runs this port this. Okay, so argument gets appended to the entry port. cmd provides a default command, but it can be completely replaced with a default command. If you run this, Docker runs this. If you run bash, then Docker run the cmd is ignored. Key differences: defines main executable. This entry point no. Easily overridden, no. Yes. Argument appended, yes. No. Used for applications, yes. Sometimes. Okay, got it. Let me go with the entry point only. Come on. Okay, so this much we've done. What is the next thing? We have done with it. Then now that you have your Docker image, let's look at a Docker ignore. I knew that I need to create Docker ignore. So let me create it first of all. Control C. Docker ignore. Such a great person I am. I copied Docker ignore and then I didn't paste it where I was supposed to be pasting. I pasted it somewhere else. Yeah. Node modules will be ignored. Docker file, everything. Docker compose, everything. If I have a Docker ignore, git ignore, readme, license, VS code, master, blah blah, in1v. Ultimately, all these things need to be ignored. Okay, fine. What is the next thing? We'll now use Docker build to convert a Docker file into the Docker image, a self-contained template containing all dependencies and configuration required to run application. T flag lets us specify name for the image, and pull tells Docker to automatically download the latest version of the base image o1 bun. The initial build will take longer as Docker will download the base images and dependencies. So what am I saying? Docker build pull bun run hello world. Why am I pulling it? Pull tells Docker to automatically download the latest version of the base image. This. Okay, got that. So let me copy it. By the way, this is not the command that I need to run. Docker build. So let me Docker. Let me clear it. Sudo Docker build and pull will tell that you have to use the latest version of the o1 bun, hopefully, and tag will be what? Tag will be node.js app. This is gonna be the tag. Run it. Password. What is the problem? Current directory, man. Ooh, sit and relax. Oh, bro. I thought it would be done. Okay, never mind. What is the next thing? The next thing, I have containerized my node. One test failed. I don't have test. That is the problem. One run build will be there. So let me do one thing. Let me remove a test. One run build. I don't have build command. Any proper example? Let me remove the build as well. I don't really care. This is just for the testing purpose, right? Whether it is getting built properly or node environment can be said, that doesn't really matter. Congratulations, Mr. Pseudo Docker images. So here we have what? Node app, Node.js app. We have our image. And the thing is that the name of this image Node.js app is the DNS actually. So this, if I run run this particular image, so a container will be created. Inside the container, whatever this image contains, that particular thing will be running. And what is the best thing is that the best thing is this, that whatever runs inside the container, that container has its own IP address, and this name, this Node.js app name references to that IP. But and then the same thing I will be doing with Prometheus container. So I will be running Prometheus image in a container, and I will be giving it the name. It will have the name will be referencing to the IP. Now I have my Node.js app container, I have my Prometheus app container. Now they need to talk to each other. For that thing, they need to be connected to the same network. So if there are people, they are connected to the same network, they can easily talk to each other. So like you have your Wi-Fi and your laptop and your mobile, they are connected to each other, and you are running something on localhost. You are kind of working on a project, and you are running that project, and you are seeing the result on localhost. So if that is connected to the same network, so you can copy the IP of your device, and using your device IP, you can get the same project there. So if you run something called npx servo, there is a package called serve. I mean, that simply serves your current directory, and when you start serving that current directory, if you use and if there are devices connected to your main Wi-Fi. So if there are two devices connected to your main Wi-Fi, and you are serving some folder or some file from your laptop maybe, so you can get the result on your PC as well if you use the IP address of your laptop plus your port number. So it is possible. Just try to do that. Run index.html on your desktop, and then make your laptop connected to the same network. And once both of them are connected to the same network, take the IP address of your device, of course laptop, and enter IP address of your laptop colon the same port that particular file is running. So maybe 3000 if there is server running, and then you will be able to get the result. And the same thing happens over here. If two devices are connected to the same network, they will you can talk to them, or you can just simply make a request to them using the IP address. And over here, this name Node.js app actually references to the IP address. So this is nothing but the DNS, domain name, full form service, domain name service. DNS full form, domain name system. So that's nothing but domain name system. Even when you write google.com, so this is the domain name, right? This is the domain that references to some particular IP and IP of the Google. So ultimately, whatever you write, that gets converted into the domain, IP address, and then IP address, through the IP address you find that particular server, and then once you find that, the request gets sent there, and then you get the response back. So this is what happens usually. I mean, every time this is what happens. Okay, so I hope you got that. So the same thing, we have created the image for our node app, and this Prometheus image we had. So what we are gonna be doing, we are going to create a new image, and this time let's close this. We are going to create the new image of Prometheus, and this time I'm gonna be naming it Node.js app. Why? Because this is the name of my app that I created, and this name will be referencing to the IP address of that particular container, the container of the node app. And as it references to the IP address, so either I write the IP address manually over here, or I write the Node.js app. They are the same thing. The second thing, as they are going to be connected to the same network, so using the IP address I can talk to each other. That simply means I can send so there are two containers. Those two containers can talk to each other if they are connected to the same network. So let me first of all, galti ho gayi. What is the problem? The problem is that no problem as such. I haven't started the container yet, right? So when you start the container, at that time you have to connect them to the same network. I haven't started the container, so no problem. Let me do one thing. Let me create a network right now. Let me check how many networks do I have. Docker network list. So these are the networks I have. I have bridge network, I have host network, I have null network. I'm gonna be creating a network. So Docker network. If you don't know the command, like I forgotten, let's simply write help over here. So I will get the command like create a network. So yeah, that's simple. So if I want to connect it to a network, connect a container to a network. So if you forgot to connect the container, connect a network to a container while creating the container, then you can connect it using this particular command. You can disconnect using this particular command. You can inspect the container. You can inspect the network. You can list all the networks. You can remove all the networks. You can remove one. So this is how it works. So these are the commands that we get with this. So what do we want to do? We want to create it. So before you even connect it to a network, that network needs to be created, right? And I think it will directly be created as well, but let me create it. So sudo docker network create. What should be the name? The name should be Node.js network, Prometheus network. What should be the network? Node.js Prometheus network. This is the network gonna be between Node.js and Prometheus app. Or keeping it simple, I'm gonna be naming it app network. Just like this, whatever I have, app network is gonna be fine. I mean, okay, it's not descriptive, but we are naming it app network. Keep in mind, okay. Or Node.js app network. Keep it anything. App network is gonna be enough. And let's simply create it. The network has been created, and sudo docker process. Sudo docker network ls. So this is the new network that I have. Oh, this one. So this is the new network that I have. What is the next thing that I have to do? Once I have the network, then it's time to run the container. So first of all, let me run what? Let me run my image. Which image do? Which one am I talking about? I'm talking about the image that I just created. Docker sudo docker images. This is the Node.js image that I just created. Let me run it. But when running it, I will even connect it to what? I will connect it to my network. Okay. So sudo docker run port number. It will be running on port number 3000, and inside the container, my app is already running on port 3000 if I'm not wrong. Let me check that. Is my app running on port 3000? Port 3000, yeah, it's running on port 3000. So 3000. So port is the 3000. Name is really important. And what should be the name be? Name should be Node.js app. That was the name of the image. Don't get confused. Sorry for that. I just explained it wrongly. This is the name of the image. You have to name it separately over here. I'm really sorry for that. I was in my own flow. So because of that thing, I made a mistake. So the name of the container references to the IP of the container. So okay, so I have to give it the proper name, and name is Node.js app. And again, image app, name app, can be same. The image name can be anything. Specifically, the image name is Node.js app colon latest, and your app name is Node.js app. Again, name can be anything, and image name can be anything. But okay, never mind. Let's continue. And once this is done, sorry for that. Few minutes back, I just simply said that this references to the IP. This does not reference to the IP. Rather, this references to the IP. Yeah. And what is the next thing? Docker sudo docker run port 3000 name, and it's time to do what? It's time to add the network here as well. So network is gonna be what? What is the name of the network? App network. So I added the network as well. What is the next thing? Forget about the next thing. Last thing actually, I have to run it in the detached mode, so that it runs, and I can just simply log through it anytime. And I have to run which image? I have to run Node.js app latest image. Simple. Let's run it. Yeah, let's run it. It's running. And this, let me check the container. Docker sudo docker process status. So right now we have one process running. The name is the process Node.js app. Keep that particular thing in mind. This is the name, and as this is the name, it will be referencing to the IP address of the container, and this is the ID, container ID, and that is it. Let me log through it. So docker sudo docker help. I wanna know about the command. Help. Yeah, we have to enter logs over here. This way you can just simply write helps anytime if you forget about the commands and all. Logs, and again help. We have to actually add the IP here. Container. After that logs, you have to just simply add the options. By the way, that option is gonna be nothing but the ID. Where is the ID? Sorry, went far away. Sudo docker process status, sudo docker logs, copy the ID, paste the ID, check the logs. What is the log? Server is running on port 3000, and the thing is that log, it is exposed on port 3000, right? Inside the container that is running on port 3000, and you are exposing it to port 3000. That simply means if you go to port 3000, you should be getting the result. So let's see. Localhost 3000 homepage. Yeah, here you are getting your root, and right now you are not running it on your local device. Don't even think that. Are you running anything on your local device? Exit. I have even exited this. Docker process, sudo docker process. The container is still running. Let me exit everything. I can even exit the whole window. Docker container will still be running. So right now I'm not running anything. Even let me show it. Stop. If you just simply go through it, you will not find index.js running anywhere. So ultimately it is not running. Okay, so ultimately how even can we find that? ls of sudo ls of, is this? Question: how to find a process running on a port? Ubuntu, yeah, that's right. Sudo ls of input. Oh, I did it right, yeah. Sometimes even by mistake I do the right thing. ls of okay. So right now you cannot see any process running on port 3000. We have one. We are listening on port 3000. Okay. We don't have any process running on port 3000. Docker, this is all about Docker. So we are listening on port 3000, and localhost, this is attached to Docker is running on 5577 port, and we are listening at port 3000. But at the end of the day, we don't really have anything running on port 3000. So let me do one thing, burn index.ts. We are able to run this. Huh? Docker process status, just a minute. Docker sudo docker process status. This is the one that is running. Let me stop it for a while. So docker sudo docker stop, control cv. Let me stop it. Will it be stopped or not? Hopefully it should be stopped. Yeah, it has stopped. So sudo docker process status a, we have this here, and this was the one that we had. It has been stopped, but we can start it again. That's not really big problem. And there's no process running right now. There's no container running right now. And docker, not docker, stop, not even stop, ls sudo ls of port 3000. Yeah, nothing is running on port 3000 right now. Earlier I was just simply listening. And if I run burn index.ts, it starts running. Great. So what am I gonna be doing now? I'm gonna be starting my container. So sudo docker process status for all, sudo docker start. This way you can just simply start the container, just simply get the IP or even get the name. Either get the container ID or just get the name. What is the name? Node.js. It has started. So sudo docker process status. So I'm gonna be getting whatever the container is running right now. And if I come here, if I reload the page, I should be getting the response. Let me use the dark reader here. So this is how I can even go to what? Control W. I can go to the health check as well. /health check. Few more. This is working. Let's go to users right now. Again, getting the users as well. Let's go to 1 times to the CPU. Okay, got it. I sent a request and cancelled it directly. That simply means one process is gonna be pending forever. Never mind. Apart from this particular thing, let me go to the metrics. So here, one request. Why am I getting this? Because I sent a request and then close this just like that. If I send any request to CPU, and after that if I refresh the page, and if I come back to the matrix page, now I have 2. This is a bug. We have to fix this. Like you send a request and then the response never gets returned, and as the response never gets returned, you should be decreasing that, right? We don't do that yet. I will be fixing it soon. So by the way, it doesn't matter how many times you reload it, this number 2 will always be here, simply because you sent a request and you suddenly sent a request to the other. So the request went, but you are not, waiting for the response. So that always remains pending. Okay, it's just like that. By the way, this much is done. Our app is running inside a Docker container. Not only that, if I just show you the stuff over here, so if you have a look at this, so this is the container ID, this is the image that we ran, this is the command that we run, and 5 minutes ago, status, okay, on my local device at port 3000 I am listening, and on port 3000 it is running inside the container. And apart from this particular thing, let me inspect. So docker sudo docker inspect. What do I want to inspect? I want to inspect this. Either use the name or use the ID, doesn't really matter. Node.js app. Okay, I'm inspecting it here. What are you gonna be getting here? Inside that media, this don't worry about this. It just simply tells image and manifested descriptor and all. If you just scroll under networks, you will be getting app network. That means this particular container is connected to app network, and you will be getting some more things. And inside this app network, you have a network IP address. This is the IP address, and MAC device and all. Let's not worry about that. But yeah, you have the IP address, right? So this this network has the IP address, and then if any device is connected to this, so that will have its own IP address as well. So app network is this. This is the app network. This network itself will definitely have the IP address. This you can consider it as a public IP for these local machines and all. And the processes that are running, they will receive the IPs as well. So of course I cannot Node.js app DNS name. This is the Node.js app and this is the one. So it has two DNS names. Node.js app is the DNS name and this is the DNS name. And what does these DNS name do? They just simply reference to the IP. So let me check this thing out. Host IP 00 this. I think, is this the IP of the container? I think so. So if I'm not wrong, correct me. Let me copy it. I'm gonna be checking. I think this is the IP of the container. Sorry, this is the IP of the container. This is the DNS name for the container. So this particular DNS name references to this particular ID, this one. So whenever I write Node.js app, I'm simply writing 172.18.0.2, and this is the overall network. So the more devices are connected to this, the better it is, because not the better. If two devices are connected to this particular network, so using this particular IP address, another device can talk to this particular thing, or either use this or you use this Node.js app. Both the things are gonna be fine. Okay, so this is how the things are gonna be going on. Apart from this particular thing, you can know more about it. Entry point was bun run index.ts. These are the labels and all. You can just simply dig deeper into them. Work dir is user source app, so it starts from there. We can even go inside the container. Let me go inside the container. I will show the stuff as well. Volume is null. There is no volume. Image is Node.js app. CMD is null, and environment variables I haven't set any, and mounts, I'm not mounting to anything, and oh, that's it. This much should be enough. By the way, it is just simply telling me that it is running on 3000 port, and port binding is to the 3000. So kind of local machine is running on 3000 port. A local machine is listening on 3000 port. Just below it was mentioned as well. And that's it. If you have a look over here at the bottom, what it is telling that it is running on port 3000 port, and the local machine host IP is listening on this particular port. Is that gonna be possible? This means, I think this means localhost, and this means this you already know. So let me check it. Oh, I have stopped it. Sorry. I think even if I stopped it, docker process status, the process is still running. Coming back to this one, if I go to my local machine, I will even go to inside the container. But let's do one thing. Instead of using localhost 0.0.0.0.0, and yeah, we are getting it. Amazing job. And not only that, if we write colon, are bhai, I think there are many. I was supposed to add only one colon. So one colon, ultimately 2 colon slash 3000 slash matrix. Let's add only one colon. 3000 slash matrix. My bad. This will not work directly. So you will anyhow will have to either you can add localhost. There are gonna be a few things. First of all, 127.0.0.1 3000 slash what matrix. You will get it here, and apart from on the local host, you can even add localhost over here. That's completely your choice. You will still get the result over here. Apart from this particular thing, you can add 0.0.0.0, and then you will be getting it here. So ultimately, coming back to this one, it is host IP is local host, and host IP is that as well. Okay, the name. Let me copy it. It's better to be sure about the things, don't you think so? Instead of guessing. What does double colon mean? equivalent to 0 0. So in your Docker output, this Docker is exposing the container port 3000 on both IPv4, IPv4 and IPv6. So IPv4 is this. Listen on this, and so your and then IPv6 is this. So why Docker shows both? When you run something like this, Docker automatically binds to this and this. So your container works on both network protocols. Why am I not getting localhost telling I am listening on localhost on localhost 3000 on my local device too? Whew. This happens because of Docker networking and your server binding server. Okay. Common mistakes listening on localhost. If your server code doesn't does this, then server listens only inside the container, not outside the container. So correct way important. Your server must listen on this. Must on this listen point. How does the request actually flow when you open? Ultimately, on our device, we are just simply binding the ports. We are connecting the ports. So browser, host machine, localhost, this port mapping. So we are just simply mapping the ports, container port, and this is what is actually happening. And over here, it is just simply telling me that it is listening on this and this. You can just write the local. I mean, it is running on 0.0.0.0 port on inside the container. So that is the kind of, ultimately container is kind of a machine as well, so kind of Ubuntu machine or something. Not Ubuntu machine, but yeah, sort of. That is some kind of machine that is running, right? That has its own IP address, and inside that it has the IP port and all these things. Okay. Control C. Tell me the IP of my container. It will be telling me the IP that, I mean, from the Docker image, this is the IP of my container, JSON IP address, and how this the IP is used. Ultimately, yeah, we are getting the IP address as well. So yeah, either you can use the IP address directly or not. It's or with the DNS name. It's completely up to you. So we've gone through this much. What is the next thing? Let's execute into the container. Let's go inside the container. So sudo docker execute in the iterative mode and node.js app using SSH secure shell. Now I'm inside the container. So ls, what all I have inside my container? I'm inside my container right now. I have index.ts, I have metrics, I have node modules, I have package.json. These are the things that I have inside my container. Cat index.ts. So all the code related to that. I can even go to metrics, and these are the files that I have inside the metrics. So ultimately this is how it simply works. So you can go inside the container, you can execute into that, and the things are going to be working. What is the next thing? Had a server, created the image, ran the container, connected to the network. Now run Prometheus. Okay, we will run the Prometheus. We will connect the Prometheus to the same network, so that when it comes to this particular file, so over here I'm just simply saying node.js app in the sense node.js name of the container, the server apps container, and that will be referencing to the IP address. It will be, and this should be actually 3000 this time, because my node.js app is running on 3000 port, and that's it. So let me do that. So what will I do? Docker run, port is gonna be 9090 slash, let me go to Prometheus, port 9090. This is what I have to do. I have to run this particular image ultimately, and slash prometheus.ml, and I will be connecting it to what? I will be connecting it to etc slash Prometheus. I mean, I'm gonna be binding it to this particular file, prometheus.ml. And what is the image name? Image name is prom/prometheus, just like this. So ultimately we have done it right. So docker, and let me add sudo here at the beginning. So docker run port number is gonna be this. I haven't given it the name. By the way, whether you give it the name or not, that doesn't matter over here, because you don't need to connect it to Prometheus. You need Prometheus to connect it to your app, right? So that is why you need the IP address of the person to whom you want to connect, right? And by the way, we can add the name. Name is gonna be Prometheus. So Prometheus will connect it to the local device, like my app container, and that is why I need to have the IP of my container. So I have the name of my container that simply references to the IP of my container. So that's okay, that will be fine. And 9090 name Prometheus. Prometheus.ml will be attached to this, and that's okay. Run it. Invalid reference format. Okay, what is the problem? Sudo docker run port 9090 name Prometheus, then Prometheus.ml etc Prometheus and Prometheus.ml from Prometheus. Invalid reference format. Sudo docker images docker rmi remove it, and what do I want to remove? I want to remove from not Prometheus.ml. I want to remove this. Let me get the ID of this. Copy. Error. How do we do it? Okay, delete it. Docker images. Right now I don't have that, and if I run this command again, invalid reference format. EDC. Oh, volume. Sorry, yaar. Such a crazy person I am. I didn't add volume here. Okay, this is fine. Run it. Okay. So right now this is running. Sorry. Why? Sorry. I didn't connect to the network. Docker process status. Sudo docker process status. Then sudo docker kill. I'm gonna be killing this as well. So that has been killed. So sudo docker process status. I will not be getting that. Coming back to the same command, I have to add the network as well so that they can talk to each other, right? That is really important. So what is the network? Network is, and that's gonna be what? App network, right? Conflict Prometheus is already in use by the container. Let me remove it. Sudo docker process status. A stands for all, and I'm gonna be removing this from here. So sudo docker remove. What I want to remove? I want to remove this. Control Shift V, then this. Control Shift V, then run it. Then run the previous command. Run it, and hopefully okay. Did I miss something or I did it? Prometheus is connected to the same network, and as it is connected to the same network, so it should be telling the about my website, not website actually. Did I miss something or I did it right? Prometheus promo network is gonna be that 9090. This from latest monitoring, they are connected to the same network, as they are connected to the same network. So why hasn't it started pulling from slash metric? Docker run Prometheus 9090 Prometheus ML, and I'm gonna be running Prometheus. And once I run that, I connect it to the same network. As they are connected to the same network, let me stop it. Docker process sudo docker process status, and I'm gonna be running it again. This time I will be running it in the detached mode. So let me run it in the detached mode. I'll have to stop it first of all. So docker process status, add sudo over here, sudo docker kill. What do I want? Not even kill, I have to just simply remove it, and I'm gonna be removing it from here. That's been removed. Let's run the same command in the detached mode. Prometheus error. This D should be maybe in the middle. In the detached mode, conflict. Sudo docker process status for all. Sudo docker remove this. Run the command and done. Docker sudo docker inspect, and this. So when I inspect this is connected to the same app network. It has the IP address as well, 117.222, like this. Let me close cancel this, and sudo process status. Oh, I have only this running. I have to start my app as well. So sudo docker process status for all, and sudo docker start. What do I want to start? I want to start my Node.js app, not Node modules. Node.js app, that's also started. So now I have both of them started. So sudo docker process status. So right now I have my Node.js app running, I have my Prometheus running. They are connected to the same network. Hopefully Prometheus should be able to pull the data from the Node.js app. So let me inspect, let me check the logs. So docker sudo docker process status, not even logs, and I want to check the logs of Prometheus. Control CV. I need to restart my Prometheus, or I'm gonna be getting it. Let me see. Localhost 9090 Prometheus is running, and HTTP requests total execute. I don't have any query as such. In that case, ls docker sudo docker process status, and both of them are running right now. I think I need to restart my Prometheus. Doc sudo docker logs Prometheus. Yes, let me do that. ls sudo docker. I'm gonna be killing this process, forget about even restarting it. Just after that I have to remove it as well. So how do we remove it? Remove. It has been removed. Let's go to the history. The command when I ran it. This was the last one, right? Control Shift C. Let me paste it here. Sudo did this network app network Prometheus ML and done. Okay, it started. And sudo docker logs of Prometheus. Okay, definitely missing something. Why is the Prometheus not able to pull the data? Control Shift C. Chat GPT, where are you? Let me add a new chat first of all. It's taking a lot of time to respond. Why isn't the Prometheus able to pull the monitored data? Loading configuration etc. ML listening on port 90. This means Prometheus is running correctly on port 9090. So if Prometheus is not pulling, the problem is usually one of these. Target is not configured correctly. Target. Node.js app. This is done. If the target is missing or wrong, Prometheus cannot escape the script. Check cat etc Prometheus. I need to go inside the Prometheus now and escape configs targets. Let's go inside the Prometheus. Control W. Just a minute. Come on. So what I was saying, let's go inside the Prometheus and check out the configuration. Okay. So ls sudo docker process status, sudo docker execute iterative mode, and control cv bash failed sh. Okay, sorry, sh ls. Now I'm inside Prometheus. LSA. Huh? Okay, where do I have to go? cd adc ls cd Prometheus cat Prometheus. Prometheus. The name is wrong, sorry. How to exit this? Wow, Vipendra, amazing job. Cat Prometheus. This is my main file that I have. 3000. As the name is wrong, it doesn't do anything. Such a crazy person I am. But the good thing is that we are able to figure out the bug. Amazing. Exit. What is the next? What is the thing that I have to fix? Prometheus. This is the right name over here. The naming convention, the naming problem is in the Docker process status. Problem. So the problem is in the file history. Prometheus. Ha. Such a good thing. What is the next thing? Sudo docker process status for all. Before even that, forget about the for all. Sudo docker kill. What do I want to kill? This control CV enter. What is the next thing? For all. A sudo docker docker docker, and then remove. What do I want to remove? Prometheus. Paste. Removed. History. What do I want to use? This with some changes. What are those changes? Correct the name. Prometheus. So done. And then sudo docker logs and Prometheus. Docker process status है. Sudo docker execute in the iterative mode the container id sh cd ls cd etc / Prometheus ls. I have only one file name here, cat Prometheus ml. So global scrape interval 50. 15 मिनट इसमें तो 15 सेकंड 15 minute. Wow, great scraping timing. Follow the same process again. Docker. अरे भाई कितना बार करेगा? Docker process status. That is why I was thinking that why isn't it is scraping the things. Sudo process status. Docker. Yes. Sudo docker kill. I'll have to remove it. Docker. What? This control CV. Sudo. Okay, not getting that anymore. What is the next thing? First of all, have I corrected that or not? 15 seconds. And let me go back here. 15 seconds. 15 minutes. Amazing. Such a crazy timing that is. History. And after 15 seconds it will start, right? Let's wait for 15 seconds. I don't know even this is gonna be working or not. Reload it. Oh, it is working. Amazing. Super यार, finally जान में जान आई. It's been pretty fucking crazy, seriously, believe me. Right now I'm getting the request here. On Node.js app, the job was Prometheus. Get request was sent by the Prometheus side. So what happened? Prometheus sent a request. So ultimately it is working. So how can I check it? The first request, after 15 seconds they'll keep getting sent. So there was the first request, instance Node.js app 3000 to this. Job was Prometheus, method was get, proud was slash matrix. So ultimately this was sent by Prometheus. So now I have 4 requests that Prometheus actually sent. Okay, great job. What is the next thing? Let's send the request from our on side. Localhost, if I go to my server 3000 slash just home page. Let me change the color to dark reader, reload it. 1 2 3 4, get on the dance floor just like this. Then health check slash health check 1 2 3 4. What is the next thing? Users slash users 1 2 3 4. Then CPU CU. Oh, great. What is the next thing? CPU. So CPU, send the request will go there, and that is it. What will I do now? Let's come back here, execute the query. Now here we are. So one request on CU, that was the wrong, I mean what, I'm just simply getting my HTTP total request. If I just simply, okay, let's not remove it. Total request in the sense I'm just filtering the request based on the name that I provided. So on CU I got one request, there was only one, and on users slash users I got 5 requests, and there was 304. On health check I got 5 requests. On home route I got 12 requests. On matrix I got 7 requests, and this is how it simply goes. I hope you got that. And this way it will keep going on. On CPU I got 1 request. So yeah, this is how the things go on. And this is just the starting. there can be so many things. Even you can just get the number of requests that you are getting. Suddenly the number of requests increased. We can talk about many things actually. It is just the starting. Even you can add a query over here. You can filter the things. And this is the Prometheus UI. Then you have Grafana UI, and there's a lot to talk about. I'll be back. I have to go to just simply get my parcel as well right now. Nothing. I just ordered some dongles. I mean, Wi-Fi dongle for my PC, so that it doesn't get disconnected again and again. So okay, pretty good thing by the way. We've done quite a lot. It's time to take a break. I'll be back soon after getting the things. Until then, take care, bye bye, and see you. And we'll continue from here on. So I'll be back, and I'll just simply start from here on. So that was it. Bye bye, take care, and hope to see you soon again. Bye bye.